Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, Texas Blue 22, you're number one in here tonight. All right. PG, much love to you, girl. You know it. And Australia, much love to you, girlfriend. Number, you're number two. Texas Blue 22, number one. You number two. And Miss Justice is number three. Much love, PG. Prayers, love, and justice. Amen. I appreciate that, girl. Back at you. Prayers for you. Much love to you. And yes, justice for sweet, sweet summer. God bless. And let's see who is number four. Oh, it's Australia. No, Australia, you number two. Let me see. Number four. I'm gonna give Australia. I'm gonna give Australia two slots tonight. Right? Let me see. Brat. You number four, girl. All right. Good evening, PG. How is PG's little man doing? Much love. God bless. Summer Moon, Utah Wells, Miss Norway prayers. Amen. Hey, girl. PG's doing good. Little man's doing good. We're all doing good. Absolutely. I appreciate your asking. Um, Let me move on down through here. Hey, Deputy Sheriff, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you tonight. Patty, good to see you, sweetie. Let's see who else is in here. Oh, keep on mama. How you doing tonight, girlfriend? Good to see you. Chris. There's Chris. Let's see. Oh, I appreciate that. Brett. Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Come on in. Hey, Jan, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. Um, I'm sick as a as an S. I heard that, girl. I heard that. But we got prayers. They'll be going up for you. They'll be going up for you. You guys gonna hear? You're gonna hear little man. Hold on. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm sorry about that, you guys. You guys get to hear little man. Uh, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Australia. We are sorry to hear that. Prayers, prayers. We will definitely be sending up the prayers, honey. Hey, second to none. How you doing tonight? Sweetie, just chilling. I love that name. I love that. That's cute. That is really super cute. Hey, Dartmouth, how you doing tonight, sweetie? Hello, PG Mods in chat. Hello, hello, hello to you. Good to see you. Dear Mama, how you doing, sweetie? Hey, PG and little man. Hey, hey, hey to you. Little man just he just he just went out of the office with Uncle. every time he makes a noise, Uncle come running. Yeah, he comes running. And she said, just got home from Super Bowl party at my daughter's. Very boring game, but good food, and I cleaned up for her. She is ready for a new baby to hurry up. Amen. Hey, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Absolutely. Right. Tell her don't be in too big of a hurry. Don't be in too big of a hurry. At least you get some sleep while they're on the inside. Once they get on the outside, all right. I want to tell you, my little one has my little one's got the days and nights mixed up. So like he'll keep you up all night. He'll keep you up all night, and then he'll try to sleep through the day. And you have to be up during the day, right? You got to be up during the day. I got to be up. I got to work, right? I got to work. I got to cook, and I got to clean, and I got to do laundry. I got 4 other kids. I got a husband. I got kids' uncles. I got, and then trying to, stay up all night and stay up all day, stay up all night, stay up all it ain't working. It ain't working for me. I'm not sure what you do when when the baby's got its days and nights mixed up like this. I've been trying to, keep him up more through the day so he'll sleep at night. But, he don't want to cooperate. Right? He don't want to cooperate. So I don't know exactly what to do. Yeah. I was lucky. Yeah. I was lucky because, I kind of trained myself to be able to stay up, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and go on a few hours sleep, right? I jump back up 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. If I was going to jog, I get up about 6 and 6:30, I'd be hitting the pavement and come back and shower up and get ready, for work and cook breakfast and get, a lot of the stuff I needed out of the way before I started work. And so I was used to going on a few hours sleep, but not this few. Right? Not this few hours. Oh, I can't. I can't. I can't. I am one of those people I cannot really sleep through the day. Man, I got to be like, I'm not saying here lately I ain't fell asleep, during the day because I have, but I got to be super, super tired because I hate to sleep in the daytime. I just got too much to do. But anyway, on the new case, that's out here right now, the missing mother, right? 90, 91 years old, I believe. Yeah, she's up there in her years. Oh, 84, 84. I'm sorry. I'm putting her above her time. Right? I hope they find her and she lives to be, in her 90s, 100 or more. But 84-year-old female, 5'5", 150 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes. She's last seen January the 31st, 2026, at her residence, right? At her residence. And I've seen pictures of the surroundings of that kind of isolated, back in where she was. And the neighbors have been saying that, you know, that they saw a white van in the area, that looked very suspicious, and a white van that had been watching people. And have you guys heard about that? Have you heard about the white van that's supposed to have been kind of patrolling in the area, following people, and kind of making the neighbors a little uneasy? Yeah, and she had the Apple Watch, um also, that um disconnected from her pacemaker, right? Yeah, I feel real bad for this family. I feel very bad for this family. Absolutely. They said, there was a camera on the roof. Yeah, they found a camera on the roof. They said that the other cameras had been smashed, right? And they said that, you from what they're saying, that whoever done this had to be affiliated with this particular residence. They had to know where the cameras were, and so forth and so on. It had to have been someone who was familiar with that area, familiar with that particular home, um, someone that had spotted out where all the cameras were. They had to have been there for some length of time at some point in time in order to been able to observe all of this. A lot of people are saying the son-in-law. A lot of people are saying the son-in-law. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'd hate to put a stigma like that on someone, you know, just because he's a foreigner, right? He's a foreigner. Everybody's been saying that, but that doesn't, I mean, he came to America, right? And studying, science and so forth. And but that doesn't mean that he would do something. I mean, for God's sake, he's married to the woman's daughter, and I don't know what would promote him to do this. He has a pretty good career. He's made a pretty good life in America for himself and for his family. And they seem to be pretty happy. And his wife, she's a writer, as well, and she writes poetry and so forth. So they seem to be pretty well off themselves. And so I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. I'm just not ruling it in as well, because I don't know. Yes, absolutely, Chris. That's true. 9 times, actually more than 9 times out of 10. It's like 9.5 times out of 10. The person knows. The person knows their assailant, right? They know them. It's someone they knew. It could be a contract worker they had at the house. It could be look at the one case where the young girl was taken, right? And her by a contractor. Her dad had a contractor there, and that contractor came back, right? The smart girl, right? I think it's Elizabeth Smart was her name, but she, that was a contractor that they had around the house. He came back and he took the girl, took the girl away. Thank God they found her, safe and alive. And in time, right? In time, they found her. But she was abducted by someone that they, a worker, someone her daddy brought in, and paid the price for having around. And and it's the same way. It's the same way, like the JonBenet Ramsey case, right? If the parents, wasn't involved in JonBenet Ramsey's, case, I don't know if they was or they wasn't. But I often thought, with it being Christmas Eve and everything, I often thought that Patsy might have swung something, at that John, and it accidentally, he may have moved and it got JonBenet. I don't know. That's just what I often thought could have happened in that particular situation. But I don't know. You had a weird Santa Claus that came into the house, and JonBenet took that weird Santa Claus for a detour, right? For a tour around the house, and they kind of detoured into Patsy's bedroom where this guy, knew exactly what passage Patsy had her Bible open to. Um, he also, would have been wearing those kind of shoes that they found footprints of because he had had heart surgery, and those happen to be the kind of shoes that is recommended after heart surgery. He was, she might have been too heavy for him to carry, or she might not have wanted to get in the suitcase that they was trying to put out the window. I don't know, you know. And he did know the house inside and out because, she took him for the tour all, so he knew where her bedroom was, where the brother's bedroom was, where Patsy's bedroom was. I mean, this guy, anytime you're having open house during, a holiday, it should be limited to the downstairs only. I mean, even Elvis Presley had sense enough to, you're not going up my staircase, right? You're not going up the staircase. You could tour the whole downstairs, but you're not going up the staircase. That's not your business. And so, but the Santa Claus got that little girl to take him on a tour all the way through that house. So he, and he did make a statement. I mean, about, I guess John Bonet gave him a little bottle or something, a glitter or something, and he said, made some statements about it, and also he talked about two other little girls, right? About two other little girls, and yeah, so and he was a professor. He was a professor, so he, is very, very likely that, being a professor, of course, I mean, if he got into the house and was in there while they was at the party and, got a notepad, of course, a professor's going to write a 2 or 3 page, letter, right? He's a professor. And being a touring the house and knowing what the Bible was open to, he definitely would have paid attention to what movies and stuff. I mean, some of the stuff on the, some of the stuff that was in the ransom letter was, from a movie which Patsy and them had in the house. And he would have known that too. He probably watched the movie and knew the movie when he seen it. So, I don't know. Oh, Momo, I appreciate that, sweetie. I so appreciate it. All right. Hey, you first one to support the channel tonight. I appreciate that. I'm a member for 4 months. Justice for Nancy. Absolutely. Absolutely. God bless. But yeah. So, I mean, it could be anybody. It could be the person that cleans the pool. It could be, the gardeners. It could be the maintenance man. I mean, we don't know. We don't know because, this is a humongous house, right? It's a humongous, it actually, it actually, I got a picture. I got a picture of this house. Here it is. It kind of reminds me of like a compound. Put a 1 in the chat if this place kind of reminds you of a compound. That's kind of, when I first seen it, I'm like, whoa, I mean, this thing's like out in the desert, isolated, hardly nothing around it. That's what it reminded me of. Is one of them places, that out in the middle of freaking nowhere, you know, um, with some strange stuff going on, right? That's what it reminds me of. Yeah, it could be a coworker of her daughter's. Exactly. I mean, and what was she doing living here by herself? Why was she staying inside this place alone, right? Why was she staying in this place alone? That's my question. That's what I'm wondering about. Hey, Bridget, good to see you, girlfriend. Good to see you tonight. Lovely London, good to see you. Right. Yeah, it does. It does. Um, whoever this was knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. Now, hey, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play for you guys. Um, I'm gonna play for you guys. What's going on? What's going on in this case?
Investigators in Arizona are pursuing new leads in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, more than a week after she was last seen at her home in Tucson. On Saturday, detectives with the Pima County Sheriff's Department were observed searching a septic tank behind Guthrie's residence. Video footage showed officers lifting a manhole cover in the backyard as part of the expanded search effort.
Right here, as you can see, right here, they're out there, checking the manholes and all this stuff. They didn't even go around and check the septic tanks and everything all over Ben Hill Road, did they? When Summer went missing, they wasn't, down at Fred's, taking the lid off the septic tanks and putting cameras down inside. You know, flashlights and cameras down in there. They wasn't doing none of that in Summer's case. That's the difference. That's the difference when you have money and you don't have money, right? When you got money, you don't have money. That's the big difference right there.
Authorities have not said what prompted the examination or whether anything was recovered. What evidence led police to treat Nancy's home as a crime scene? Police found blood belonging to Nancy Guthrie on her porch, indicating a possible crime. Additionally, signs of forced entry were observed, leading investigators to believe she did not leave voluntarily. These findings prompted law enforcement to declare her home a crime scene and to intensify their search efforts. Guthrie was last seen about a week ago after her daughter Annie Guthrie and son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, dropped her off at home following dinner. Concern grew the following day when she failed to attend Sunday church, according to officials.
Now, it was her daughter and her daughter's husband that pulled up and dropped her off about 9:30, to my understanding, at night. Around 9:30 at night, they dropped her off, to go in to this home. Here's the thing. To my understanding, the back door was open, right? The back door supposedly was opened. And But the front door was a security door, right? Make that make sense. Um, you have a big security door on the front of this property. Um, and I have a picture of that security door. Right here, I have a picture of the security door. And you can see that somebody took the ring doorbell. It's not even here. I don't even think it's there. That's just the plate right there that holds that's the plate that holds the doorbell onto it. They completely took the ring doorbell. It's gone. It is just completely gone right there. So, the only thing they left there was the plate that it would hang on. And here's that big security door. And as you can see, this security door has a deadbolt, and it also has the regular lock handle. And I'm sure that the deadbolt on it would have been what they call double key. It wouldn't have been a turn. It would have been what they call a double key lock. So when you open it, you would have to use a key, and when you go inside to lock it back, you'd have to use the key to lock it back after you go in. Because that's usually, the type of security door you got. And older people use the double key. If you have children, it's not smart to have the double key locks, because something happens, you need to get out real quick. You ain't got time to be funneling around, with keys like that. And then again, sometimes if you do got kids, it might be good to have that, right? It might be good to have it because then they can't open and go out at night like teenagers. Teenagers, they wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't be able to, sneak out the door at night, with a double bolt like that. So it might be good. It might be good if you got teenagers. I don't know. But anyhow, this would have had to been peeled. It would have, nobody is going to come through this. You would have to peel it. You'd have to peel it back with like with some type of tool. You'd have to peel it back. And in order to even get to the other door, to be able to enter the home. And and that's probably going to set off an alarm, so forth and so on. What I'm thinking is, this is just my opinion. What I'm thinking is the son-in-law and the daughter brought her home about 9:30, dropped her off. And I think they went ahead and pulled off because they believe, they believe this place is safe. They didn't go in with her. They didn't, see her into the house and see everything was fine, before they left. I believe that they just let her out, let her go on in, and they pulled away after saying good night. And I think she might have went in and, stumbled upon someone already in there. That's my opinion. I think she would have entered through this front, and if the back door was open, then that more than likely someone came through the back, was already in the house when she got home. That's just my opinion. There was no alarm system. Wow. That's not smart at all. That's I don't know why. I have no idea why humans, feel so safe in this evil world. I'm going to tell you, um, everyone, you know, there's certain things that you really is important in our world today. It is very important to pay for a few things. One is car insurance, right? Make sure you carry car insurance. You know, that is very important. Um, Two is make sure you pay for a camera system. It's not really that much. You know, pay for it instead of, cut corners somewhere. Instead of, maybe instead of buying something you don't need, buy something you do. Like, a camera system. Instead of getting a crock pot you know, or the latest cookware set or whatever, get a camera system. Pay for that camera system. It's very important to have a cell phone. It's very important to have a camera system. It's very important to have an alarm system. You know, those are things that, car insurance, camera systems, cell phones, and alarm systems are very, very important to have in this world today. Because, they can save your life. They could save your life, and or someone else's, say that, someone was going to do something to someone in front of your home and they saw that camera system on your house. They'll keep moving. They'll keep going. Maybe you'll save somebody else. You don't even know it. But maybe maybe you'll save some little kid that's in front of your house, and the person keeps going because they saw your camera system. So that child got home safe. Maybe it'll save you. It would have definitely saved this woman, right? It would have definitely saved her because, she'd have had an alarm system, which I'm hearing she didn't. I don't know if she did or not. But if she didn't have an alarm system, well, she should have. She absolutely should have. Alarm systems, really ain't that much money. Really ain't that much money. I mean, for like less than $100, less than $100 a month, you can have a camera system, an alarm system, and you could probably, have an alarm system. Might not be the best, greatest alarm system, but it's an alarm system, and definitely a camera system, and pay your cell phone bill, for around $100 a month, $100 a month. There's absolutely no reason not to have these things. Everybody should have this, especially people who live alone. Vulnerable people. And I'm going to tell you the one thing that we as humans, don't realize is there's people watching us when we're not watching them. There's people listening to our conversations that, we have no idea is listening to our conversations, right? You'd be surprised at how many people are standing in the grocery store listening to your conversation. You'd be surprised at how many people are standing around the grocery store on a grocery parking lot looking at you that you didn't even see. You had no idea that they were staring at you. They were staring at, not only at you, but the people with you. They were taking note of what you're wearing, what you're driving. You know, these people take notes. They take notes today. And, you have no idea um, who, is watching you and who isn't. You have no idea. This is a scary freaking world today. And I tell you why it's scary. Because people are not no longer wrapped up. They're no longer wrapped up in taking care of themselves. They're no longer wrapped up in, working their job and coming home cleaning their house and taking care of their yard and doing what they need to do. Oh, there's little man. There's little man. Hold on. Let's see if Uncle comes flying in with him. Okay, he didn't come flying in, but hold on a minute because I'm going to go. I'm going to go flying out to see what's going on. Sorry about that, you guys. Very sorry about that. But I couldn't, there's no way I could sit here and not go see what's wrong with the baby, right? No way. Anyhow, he's fine. He's fine. The uncle, right, freaks out. He freaks out. The baby was asleep, woke up crying, you know. He's trying to get a bottle. The baby's crying. My kid's uncle is a mess. Trust me. He's a good guy, really super good person, but he is a mess. Anyway, as you can see, the doorbell here is completely gone. Whoever it was that went in to this, into this particular home and done what has been done, definitely has been on this front doorstep, right? They have absolutely been at this front door before, because this isn't a door that you could drive by and just look at. See, look at this. Look, that door is like it's closed in. See right there? You have to go inside this dark porch. See right there? If you just drove by, you could not see whatever's inside of this hole up there where the door is. There's no way. If you're out here on this road going by, there's no way you're going to, spot that Ring doorbell. You have had to been out of the vehicle and up inside of here in order to know what's in there. Because, you got to walk into like a little cave, right? Like a little cave to go into that door. And so whoever did this knew this. They have been on this property, and not only that, but that ain't the only camera missing, right? That ain't the only camera. They said the cameras had been smashed. They've been smashed, right? So that means there was more. There was more video cameras. But they did find just recently, it came out that there was one camera up on the roof. So, and obviously it was in contact, right? It wasn't smashed. It wasn't, destroyed. So they may be able to get some type of footage from that particular, device. And I just, and I heard that neighbors was talking about, this particular white van that had been in the area and, like scouting the area. Maybe I heard the van was around there for like 2 or 3 days. So maybe they was, trying to see, what time the neighbors were out, what time the neighbors arrive home, what time everything calms down, around about what time, this particular woman goes out or comes in. It sounds to me like whoever it was had their eyes on this particular home, this particular woman, right? This particular lady, but they were scouting out the neighborhood. They were scouting the neighborhood, getting a better, understanding on the fastest way to get in, the fastest way to get out. What neighbors, possibly could see them, not see them, what neighbors possibly have video footage and what ones don't. That's what I'm thinking. That they were in there, doing their job, they already knew everything about this place. They knew where the cameras were. They knew who lived there. They knew, they knew everything about this. They were doing their homework on the surrounding area. Is what they were doing. That's my opinion.
In recent days, several news organizations have reported receiving what appeared to be ransom communications demanding $6 million for Guthrie's safe return. On Friday, the Guthrie family released a video message on social media in which Savannah Guthrie appeared alongside her siblings, Annie and Cameron. "We received your message," Guthrie said in the video. "This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay." The video, distributed by Reuters, prompted widespread public reaction. Some residents questioned the timing of the search behind Guthrie's home. One local commenter wrote on social media, "Are you telling me they haven't checked the septic tank before?" Another asked why it had not been examined earlier. Sheriff Chris Nannis said investigators believe Guthrie was forcibly taken from her residence sometime last weekend. DNA testing confirmed that blood found on her front porch belonged to her, he said. Authorities have not publicly identified any suspects. Over the weekend, officers were seen inside the home of Annie Guthrie for several hours, searching multiple rooms. One officer was observed carrying a silver briefcase into the residence. Investigators have not disclosed whether the search was connected to the ransom communications.
Well, the briefcase they carry is, for fingerprinting and to bag evidence and all, we know that. We already know what the briefcase is for, right? We know that. So, with us already knowing what the briefcase is for, and, my question is, if there was, DNA of hers found outside on the porch, right? And I think we've all seen pictures of, the droppings on the front porch. And it didn't seem to be a lot. It didn't, it wasn't like a massive amount. It was more like, a busted nose, or more like a busted nose or mouth or something like that, right? That's what I thought. I thought it was equivalent to, from what I seen on the front porch. I thought it was equivalent to, a face injury, like the nose or the mouth. I don't know. That's just, was my opinion. Because I've seen people that, that have nosebleeds like that, and it'll drip like that, right? In that type of pattern, on the ground. That's why I believe that's possibly what it could have been. Could have not have, but it could have been. That's what I'm thinking. So whoever did it was violent, right? Whoever did it was violent enough to injure this woman. And if they're violent enough to, injure an 80-some-year-old lady, then God only knows, what else they're capable of doing, in my opinion. And I'm wondering, did they find, did, you know, they did take the case inside the house. I'm wondering if they found, maybe more or less DNA, more or less droppings inside the home, right? Inside. That's what I'm wondering. Now, I don't think it would be a massive amount inside the house. If they found like a massive amount inside the house, I don't think her kids would be willing to pay a ransom or anything, because they would not pretty much know, the survival rate of that type of, that massive amount of droppings. So with them, with the three of them, coming forth and, saying, hey, we'll pay this ransom. We'll do what you want us to do. Just we want our mother. That tells me that the evidence found in and around that house, wasn't enough evidence to make anyone believe that this woman is not still alive and able to be returned. That's my opinion. If you ask me. Hey, UFC Froggy, good to see you. That's just my opinion.
At least one of the purported ransom notes outlined two deadlines: Thursday evening and Monday evening, according to reports. Law enforcement officials said they have not verified the authenticity of the messages but emphasized that all tips were being examined. The White House confirmed that President Donald Trump spoke personally with Savannah Guthrie last week. On Friday, Trump told reporters that investigators had uncovered clues that I think are very strong.
There you go. Donald Trump reached out to this family personally, reached out and spoke with them personally, right? And, ain't it funny how these missing children don't seem to get no attention from presidents, right? I mean, if I was a president, right, of the United States, if I was president of the United States, these missing children would be on the top of my list, right? They'd be on the top of my list of law enforcement doing everything they need to do to solve a missing child's case. I mean, like every missing child, I would be calling into that law enforcement saying, you better do. I don't want to hear about fundings. I don't want to hear about anything. What I want to hear is you're diligently doing, what you need to be doing in order to get this child's case solved. You solve this case. And if you need help, you let me know now so we can send it, right? But I want this case, solved, and I want it solved within days, and I want it done right. And you treat it as a criminal case. If you haven't been treating it as a criminal case, you treat it as one now until that child is found. I mean, I would be focused on these missing children, but it don't seem they are. It don't seem that, the politicians, they're worried about kids' lunches, right? They're worried about obesity, but they're not worried about, child abuse and missing children being destroyed in this world, right? Make that make sense. Make that make sense. I think there is, you know, a lot more important things in this life than worrying about a child's diet, right? That's my opinion. Let them children eat. Let them children eat, but keep them safe, right? Keep them safe so they can eat. That's what I say. Keep them safe so they can eat and be healthy. And I'll tell you another thing. I have seen some, what they call obese children, right? Obese children, when they're little and they're grade school. And I've seen those obese children, when they're in middle school and high school, and they they're slimmed down, right? It's like you wouldn't have ever knew that child was a little overweight in its life. They become teenagers, and all that weight falls off of them, and they're healthier and more fit than the average person that was watching their weight. So why do we care? Why do we care about whether a child's eating too much or not? Why do we care about that? When we have missing children out here every day, children being abused, children coming up missing, children being destroyed, I think we got a lot bigger problem than worrying about some damn diet for kids. That's all I got to say. And somebody 80 some years old goes missing, and the president makes phone calls. A 5-year-old goes missing, no phone calls. Another 5-year-old goes missing, no phone calls. Right? A 14, 15-year-old goes missing, no phone calls. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Because, to me, it don't make no damn sense. I think this country's got its priorities all fucked up. That's my opinion. I'll keep it.
Officials have expressed ongoing concern for Guthrie's health. According to Sheriff's Dispatcher audio posted on Broadcastify, she requires daily medication, has a pacemaker, and suffers from high blood pressure and other heart-related conditions.
I understand. I understand, why families, don't want to bring, their issues out here on YouTube. I fully understand it, because there's a lot of details here that really should have been told, right? They shouldn't have been told. Like, for instance, the lady's got a pacemaker. That should have not have ever been shared, because, because that pacemaker was hooked up to that smartwatch, right? And that pacemaker could have been being monitored, right? And sometimes, they have ways to monitor that pacemaker, to see, so they could call you back in the office, right? If need be, They can call you back in. The well-to-do people have a lot of access to medical care that we don't have, right? That we don't have. Where, like, for instance, you take the poor people, right? Middle class, poor people. They take you have to go through a stress test, right? When, like, they want to check your, see if you got a good ticker, right? They're going to see if you got a good ticker going on. So they take you in, and, the cardiologist takes you in, and they give you a stress test, right? They're going to run you on a treadmill. They're going to put stuff in you. Then they're going to run you on this treadmill and do all this stuff to you, to check out your ticker, and so forth and so on. And then, but the well-to-do people, like Hollywood, government, Hollywood, people, Elon Musk, all of these people who got it going on. Well, let me tell you something about them. They just go and they get what they call a scan. Yeah, they actually got a machine that can scan you. There's no running on treadmills. There's no getting any dyes or anything put in you that can cause complications then or later. They don't have to do any of that. They just go and they lay down and they get scanned and they're told everything. They're told if they got a good ticker or they don't. It's that simple, but it's very expensive to get scanned. You can't afford to get scanned. So, you basically get put through hell. I mean, even if you had a good ticker, after all of that, I don't know if it'd be ticking or it won't be ticking. That's, if you didn't have a good one, that could be bad. That could be bad. Because you didn't get to go in and just get scanned. An easy scan that didn't take nothing out of you. You had to go in and, and be put through hell. With all the old shit. And the old way. And that's the truth. That's the truth, And it's sad that, that there's two standards of medical care, right? Two standards of medical care. Actually, like three. There's really like three, because the poor get the worst. And because the insurance don't pay as much. And then you have the middle class. Those are the ones, that go through all the old ways. And then you have, they might get a decent doctor, but still they're going to be wore out. They're going to be wore out from all the, all the tests that, that takes out the rabbits and the squirrels and the ducks and probably fucking pigs, cows, and horses. I don't know. But maybe the whole farm. I have no idea. I try to stay away from doctors, right? I try to stay away from them. I think that's how you stay healthy. Right? You stay healthy by staying away from it. But anyhow, just saying, I need to shut up, right? But the well-to-do, they get all of this high-end medical care that nobody else gets. Most people don't even know about it. A lot of people don't even know about it. And, because there's probably a lot of people here saying, what? You just get scanned? Yeah. Research it. Right. that's why, you you know, it's good to read the medical journals and everything, right? Stay up to date on all the new medical technologies. You don't know when you or someone you love is going to need it. And you want to stay up to date on all the stuff that, the new stuff that's keeping, people that should have been gone still alive, like senators and congressmen and and all these people in Hollywood, right? You got to stay up to date. You got to stay up to date with the latest and greatest stuff. So, anyhow, research it. It's there. I promise you, it's there. I research. And this woman's pacemaker could have been being monitored. Well, somebody decided to tell that. Now, let me tell you something. If any human that, abducts someone and they're wanting, anybody that abducts someone, they watch the news. They watch the news. They watch, YouTube. Anywhere that this particular case is being talked about, the person that did it is going to be there. Man, they are rummaging through all of this like Grant took Richmond, okay? Because they're reading about themselves. They're reading about them. They want to know what everybody's saying. They want to know everything that's going on. So they're all in social media. They're all into the newspapers. Trust me, they are all over it. And someone brought that up. And it's true. It could be being done. Well, I'm going to tell you something. That right there, like if somebody took, say per se, someone took a child and the child could possibly, have a tracking device, right? Underneath the skin, or, an air tag on the shoes. When people started talking about the air tags and stuff, what happened? What happened when a child got abducted? Their shoes were found thrown out. Their book bags were found thrown out. Everything was thrown out, right? Because why? The abductor, the person that took the child had been notified that children have this stuff to keep them safe, and they get rid of it all, right? That's the first thing they do. Once people get hipped, now, what are they going to do about the pacemaker if they believe it's being monitored somewhere to show signs of life that this woman's still ticking, right? What are they going to do? That's a scary thought, right? If the air tags are going out the window, where's that going to go? Right? Just saying. Just saying. You know, and so I understand. I understand fully why people, why families are afraid to come out here in this world and have their business like this aired out. Because you got people, who tell about this stuff. They bring it to the freaking mind of the assailant, of the abductors. And, that's just, what good does it do? What good does it do to put air tags in your kids' shoes and on their book bags? It's false security. It's false security. Because criminals that abduct children know about these damn air tags, and they're going to be throwing everything out, right? They're going to be throwing everything away so that they can't be tracked. And now, now everybody knows that, the pacemaker could possibly be under surveillance as well. I mean, I thought, damn, why don't these people learn to keep their damn mouth shut? Even if you know it, you shouldn't say it, right? You shouldn't say it, because these evil people are looking, and they're watching, and they're listening, and they're reading. If they know how to read, they're reading. And, Chris, it wouldn't do no good to put a chip in a child. All that would do is cause the child a whole lot of pain. Do you realize what an abductor would do to that child? They would figure out where the chip is, and it would be really painful for that child. All you're doing is adding to that child's misery. Not that it ain't already going through enough. You'd just be adding more to his misery. Right? It's no good. Nothing is any good if the evil one knows about it. Right? If the evil one knows about it, it's not worth 2 cents. That's why the less you talk, the better off you are. I just want to, put that out there. I don't give a damn how close you are to somebody. I don't care if it's your brother. I don't care if it's your sister. You don't know your brother and sister. You might think you do, but you really don't. You don't know nobody in this world. You don't even know yourself. You ever done something that surprised you? You're like, oh God, is that me? Right? I can't believe I did that. So you don't really know you. We've all reacted in a way that we thought we wouldn't ever react, because we didn't know ourselves. So if we don't know ourselves, then how the hell are we going to know other people, right? You're not. And you should trust nobody. Trust no one. Right? Family be the first to get you, because you do trust them, and they know you trust them, and you're an easy target for them. They'd be the first to mess you over because they think they can, and they will. So you don't tell. You don't tell them about, you shouldn't tell nobody about any of your business. I mean, if you're up on the mountain, stay up there and keep quiet. It is best to not let people know what you got. It is not even your own children. It's not their business. Your financial statuses and what you have and what you own is none of their business. It's not theirs. It's yours. And if they want it, they need to go out there and make it. Right? You made yours. They need to go make theirs. What you have does not belong to them. It belongs to you. And it's not nobody's business. Keep your kids in a kid's place. Keep your siblings in a sibling place. Right? Keep these people around you in their place. They don't need to know your business. And you ain't very smart if you let them know your business. Right? You don't let them know where everything is in your house. You don't let them know where everything is. Don't let them know what you pack and what you don't pack. It's not their business. If someone knows all your business, then you're setting yourself up for failure. For every one person out there that wants to build you up, there's a million wanting to tear you down, right? Your misery is their happiness. Just saying. What you do ain't people's business. This lady, this lady that disappeared, she let somebody know too much of her business. She let someone, she was too trusting. She was too trusty. I'm not trusty. I know better than to be trusty. Right? I know how, I'm going to tell you, you can get got real fast. You trust people, you'll be getting got, right? That's just how it is. Just saying, you guys.
The Guthrie case. Annie Guthrie's husband Tommaso Cioni faces public scrutiny amid speculation, but police confirm no suspects as the investigation continues. Nancy Guthrie case. As the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie becomes increasingly intriguing to the public, it has now zeroed in on her family, specifically her daughter Annie Guthrie and her son-in-law Tommaso Cioni. Much of what's being floated on social media remains speculative, however. Documented information. Who is Annie Guthrie's husband? Annie Guthrie is married to Tommaso Cioni, an educator and writer who has lived in Arizona for nearly 2 decades. Though largely private, the couple has occasionally shared glimpses of their life through personal reflections and limited social media posts. Who is Tommaso Cioni? Tommaso Cioni is a 50-year-old, best known as an academic and creative thinker rather than a public figure. Born in Italy and now based in Tucson, Arizona, he has built a career in education while maintaining interests in writing, music, and natural sciences. Tommaso Cioni educational background. Cioni hails from Italy, where his attention was caught by the biological and environmental world around him. He went to America, where he pursued and taught middle school level science and then went on to teach more complex biology. The couple got married in 2006 and they have a son together. Annie, who writes books and poetry, often credits her husband by saying he's the source of inspiration for all her creativity, adding that she believes that he writes poetry through his lifestyle. Despite all the media attention, they have managed to keep their private life a secret. Tommaso Cioni career. Cioni has had worked stretching over 10 years as a science educator in Tucson. His colleagues suggest that Cioni is very passionate about learning and mentoring others, and he is a writer in both essays and poems with other personal interests in music and herpetology. It appears that Cioni's work as a teacher is still his primary profession. Is Tommaso Cioni a prime suspect? Speculation mounted after journalist Ashley Banfield suggested that Cioni may be a prime suspect in the investigation of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, but no suspect or person of interest has been named by law enforcement. Authorities say the case remains open, no arrests have been made, and forensic results are still pending. Tommaso Cioni net worth. The approximate income of Tommaso Cioni's net worth is considered to be under the $1 million mark, and this income.
Now, I'd say he's poor, right? I mean, $500,000 to $1 million is not no money in today's time, right? In today's world, even if you got $500,000, it's no money. I mean, considering that homes, right, that houses, that you can't even buy a decent house for under, like, you can't get a decent home for under $400,000. So it costs you like, $500,000 just for a home in today's world, right? $500,000 for a decent home. And then, they said that, he's under $1 million. So, $1 million is nothing but $500,000 twice. That's $1 million. That's all it is, right? I mean, and the first $500,000 is going to go for a home. The other $500,000, if you maintenance the home the way you're supposed to, and pay everything that it takes to maintain a home, like taxes and water bills and all these extra fees that they have, and then the upkeep and all the stuff. And then on top of that, you want a vacation, you want to, do other stuff. The other $500,000 really ain't no damn money either, right? I mean, like $10,000 can slip through your fingers in a matter of days, right? You have $10,000 one day, and a few days later you're broke. You might go out and buy a living room suit. You might buy a table set. You might buy a couple, and the $10,000's gone. You might decide to, put in a tiki bar or a kitchen in the back of your house. $20,000 is gone easy. 30 maybe. Depends on how nice of a kitchen you want, right? I mean, you might to put a roof on your house. If you want a really good roof, you're looking at, 40, 50 grand. 40 or 50 grand. How long is $500,000 going to last you at the prices stuff costs today, right? How in the hell? I mean, if you want a bathroom, remodeled, right? Remodel your bathroom. You're looking at freaking 25 to 30,000 easy. And that's for them to come in and lay in all the towel and change up the plumbing and lay in all the towel, the floor towels and do the walls and, all new fixtures. And you're looking at plumbing, you're looking at electric, you're looking at a amount of spending right there. $500,000 ain't going to last long. And look at the prices of vehicles. You can't get a good vehicle for less than 40 grand. You're going to pay 40 grand or more for a vehicle. And then you have all the expenses of that. The insurance and the gas and new tires, and if anything goes out on it, all the maintenance on it. And even if nothing goes out, you still got to go in and have it, mother freaking winterized and summerized and all the shit, oil changes. I mean, they get you coming and they get you going, right? So these people ain't, this guy ain't really, he's not rolling in no dough. That's for damn sure. He ain't rolling in no dough. Now, I did hear somewhere, heard somewhere that the one guy that said, I want these Bitcoins. I think he was out of Florida or California. I can't remember where he was out of. Right here, this guy right here. That's the little weirdo right here, right? This is the little weirdo right here that supposedly, contacted these people and said he wanted all this money in Bitcoins, right? And then he kind of backed out of it. But I heard that the son-in-law, yeah, that's what I was hearing. I was hearing that this son-in-law right here, let me pop him up right here. I heard the son-in-law right here had a text message, or he either got a text message from this guy or sent a text message to that guy saying, did you get the Bitcoins yet? That's what I heard. I heard law enforcement supposedly. I don't know. I really don't know. This is just what I'm heard. I believe I heard that this guy right here either text messaged the son-in-law about, did you get him? Or the son-in-law text messaged him, did you get him? Did anybody else hear that? Put a 1 in the chat if you heard that too. Because I know for a fact that I heard it. I know for a fact I heard that. Right? Nobody else? I think I saved it. I think I saved where I seen it at. I think I did save it. I'm gonna go back and take a look. If I got it, I'm gonna play it out for you. Nobody else heard about that? Dreamcatcher said she did. That she heard about it. Oh, Carrie said she did too. Yeah, I heard there was a text message between them two. That's what I heard. Oh yeah, I heard it. I think I read it. That, and I thought that was, that was a little strange. Now, if there really is a text message between the son-in-law and this guy right here, they probably did it. I mean, that's my opinion. They probably did it. You know what I'm saying? Some people, sometimes, she's 80 some years old. She might live to be 100 and some. Some people can't wait to get what you got, right? Some people cannot wait to get what you got. You got to be careful. I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes it pays to have nothing. Sometimes it pays to not have a fucking thing for anyone to benefit from, right? And that's the truth. sometimes, I think humans should have a right to be put on a list, like, I don't want anything list. I don't want to own a home. I don't want to own anything that's worth anything. I don't want anyone to ever be able to get insurance, on my ass. I, you know, I don't, they should have an I don't list. Since we got all this technology, you should have the right to be on an I don't list. And every insurance company can go on that I don't list and be able to see that, nope, we're not paying you out because this person is on an I don't want no type of life insurance ever, or any type of insurances ever, to be, on me, or to be paid out on me. And, insurance companies would probably save a lot of money if they had that. And they should be the only ones to have access to it. And it doesn't matter if someone paid them for years and years and years, or for any length of time, to collect insurance on someone that didn't know about it and didn't want it. They should just lose their money. They should just lose all the money. They should lose what they paid for getting it behind someone's back. And they should lose the whole policy. Nothing paid to them. Because there's a lot of people that actually get on insurance on other people. Like this one man, for instance. He got insurance, right? He got insurance first. He got insurance on himself. And he hurt himself, right? He hurt himself. So he could collect it. And the next thing you know, he got it on his son-in-law. And then he got it on, another family member. And he was getting these policies without this family knowing about it. He was getting policies on these people and, collecting money. He was hurting them and, and completely destroying some of them to get the money. And, and one woman, one woman did it to her husband, and then she did it to her children, right? It should be, they should not be allowed to do that. For one, I don't think anyone should be allowed to insure anybody under the age of 21. Meaning parents cannot insure their kids, right? And also, once you're 21, you should be able to insure no one but yourself. You cannot insure other people. If your wife wants insurance, then she have to come in and sign it, right? That it should just, that's the way. An ID should be, ID should always have to be seen. And because there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of, of that kind of stuff going on. We've got to stop. We got to put roadblocks. We have to put roadblocks against these evil people that look to reap off of other humans, off of innocent humans, that people who want to destroy and reap off of other human beings, because they ain't got enough ass to get up off that ass and go make their own, right? Just go out there and work a job and make your fucking own. They want to do evil. They want to make what they have off of doing evil to other human beings. And, and this case could be a prime example. This case could be a prime example of what I'm talking about. That son-in-law would have a lot to gain through his wife if something happened to this particular woman, right? I mean, the house alone, you know, is worth a ton of money. Just, just this, that right there. Look at this. Can you imagine? Could you imagine, because this would be sold, it would be sold and split, right? This is the mother's property. It would be sold and split. I mean, it's all to gain, nothing to lose, you know, and that could be the case. I mean, in today's time, the son-in-law is considered poor, right? He's considered poor out there where he lives. He's considered poor. These people are, you could tell these people right here are filthy rich, right? This is money, baby. This is money. Just saying. That's money. Money that it don't, that the daughter and the son-in-law don't seem to have. And like I said, whoever did this to this woman has been on this property. They have scouted this property out. They knew when they went in there, they knew exactly what the hell they were doing. They knew what they was doing. And a lot of times, they'll try to make it look like they don't want no ransom. They want to make it look like, ransom in order to just reap all the benefits of the insurance and the property and all that's going to flow in from this old person being gone, right? By this mom or dad or whatever being gone. And I'm going to tell you, this is an evil world, man. This is an evil world we are living in. It's an evil world. You got kids taking out parents to reap benefits. You got parents taking out their children to reap benefits. This is one sick world. You got family taking out family so they can collect one way or another, if they feel there's something to gain. And I'm going to tell you, there's dirty, there's dirty people everywhere, right? There's dirty people everywhere, that will do stuff. I'm sure that there is insurance people who, will do favors, like let you get insurance on somebody that you shouldn't be getting insurance on, but they'll let you get it, sign yourself as the beneficiary, and let you collect off of these people. You got dirty people everywhere. You got dirty, that's why, they changed the car insurance, because there was insurance agents that was backdating. They were backdating the insurance policy, right? Well, they can't backdate insurance policies no more, because, they were doing favors. You always got these people that do favors, and you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Like I said, trust nobody. Well, I'm going to tell you, it says it's going to be like the days of Noah, right? The days of Noah. And I want to tell you, just look around. Look around. I mean, everything's on the table, right? Everything's on the table. I mean, if you guys haven't took notice, evil is getting very bold. Evil is getting more bold today than it's ever been, right? I mean, people don't care to come right up. They don't care to come right up to your vehicle. They don't care to come up right up to your home. They don't care, I mean, evil is overstepping its boundaries. It feels it has some type of right to invade your space, right? This is just an evil world. And I'm going to tell you what this right here shows you. This right here shows you no one is safe. It doesn't matter how much money you got, you're not safe. Nobody is safe anymore. Right? I don't care where you live. I don't care how much money you have. You're not safe. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you what, these people do not think right in our world today. They do not think right. I don't know, I don't know if, I have no idea if they, split, if they split these generations up, like half of them over here and half of them over here, and they didn't do nothing to the minds of one side, and they did something to alter the minds of the other. But I'm going to tell you something. It used to be that, for instance, Democrats and Republicans, I'm not here to talk about politics, but I'm going to make, I'm just using it to make this statement. You take the Democrats and you take the Republicans. Now let's go back in history. Let's just go back in history to the 1980s. Okay, we don't have to go back to the 70s or the 60s or the 50s or the 40s. Let's just go back to the 80s. You had Democrats and you had Republicans, and they weren't that far apart. They weren't that far apart, right? I mean, one was supposed to be for the wealthy, the other one's supposed to be for the poor, and the Democrats, were logical thinkers, right? They seem to be logical thinkers, that they need to help the poor, they need to, help the homeless and help the fatherless and the widowers and the widows, and they were for the little man, and supposedly, allegedly, the other side was for the rich, the famous, kind of for themselves. Well, now you take the Democrats and the Republicans in 2025, 2024, 2023, it's been like a minute now, right? And look how far apart they are. Look how far apart they are. Like, the Democrats ain't even thinking rational. They don't even think rational. I mean, they got people, putting tents up all over the streets and everything. Like encampments. They ain't saying let's put them in housing. Let's, like they did back in the 80s, let's put them in a house. Let's, help fund them a little bit, so they can get through life. No. They're like, let's just have big homeless encampments everywhere, and everybody live like, it's the Wild Wild West again, right? Like teepees and shit. And it's, it's not normal, right? It's not normal. And then you have the Republicans that seem to be where the Democrats used to be. You have the Republicans who are God-fearing, right? They're the ones that seem to be God-fearing, and so forth and so on. They seem to be the ones worrying about the country, worrying about, the homeless, and worrying about what the Democrats used to. And the Democrats just went way out there. And the Democrats are like, are on some, weird stuff of, your kids should be allowed to be a boy or girl. And then your kid should be allowed to be an animal if it wants to be an animal. I don't even know what the fuck that stuff's about, to be honest with you. I don't know. I just know that my kid's going to be a kid. And it's going to be, if it's a boy, it's going to be a boy. And if it's a girl, it's going to be a girl. And that's just the way it is, because that's what God made it. And I don't believe in any of that other shit. But, that's me. That's my, my beliefs, my opinion. I respect other people's, and I want mine respected as well. I ain't trying to change nobody, and don't try to change me. But, they're not thinking right. They're not, there's no normalcy to it. Right? I just say it like it is. There's no fucking normalcy in this world today. So I'm going to tell you something. If you have not got cameras, and you do not have alarm systems, and you do not, have enough sense to have what you need to protect yourself in this evil, warped-minded world, you're going to get God. You're going to get God, right? It's just how it is. It's just how it is. And it's like the days of Noah. It's, what do you think the days of Noah was? It was all of this evilness, all of this, warped-minded, mother freaking evilness being spread, and forced and pushed upon everyone else. And they were weeding out the ones that were not willing to, partake in that stuff. They were weeding them out. And, and you had Noah and his family, right? You had Noah and his 3 sons, their wives, and his wife. And these people laughed at him, as he built that boat. They were cracking up and laughing. And he was trying to warn them. And he was trying to do all he could, to get them on board. But they wasn't having it. They were too busy, and they just loved their evil lives until the rain started coming down and the door was already shut. And then they couldn't, they couldn't do nothing. And they were destroyed. They were destroyed as that boat went up in the air. They were all destroyed. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be destroyed again. It's going to be destroyed again. If you do not think that the rapture is going to, if you think that the rapture isn't coming, you're wrong. That rapture's coming, and it's a lot closer than we think. It's a lot closer than we think. No, we don't have Noah building a big boat, but we do have Jesus getting ready to come out of that sky and take up all of the children that belong to God. All of God's children's going to be removed off this earth, and so is the Holy Spirit. And this earth is going to be, it ain't going to have nothing but evil left upon it. It's just going to be evil left upon it. And only the people God chooses, to stay here. Better read the Bible, because there's going to be a couple angels on the earth, and they're going to be preaching. They're going to be preaching. And people are going to, and these evil people is going to attack them. They're going to attack them. But they're going to stay alive. And they're going to stay alive. They're going to try to destroy those angels. But those angels can't be destroyed. And those angels are going to try to collect whoever else they can. But it don't sound like too many people's going to listen, right? Oh, the rapture is in the Bible. The rapture is in the Bible. You better read your Bible. You better read the New Testament, because it clearly tells you that the rapture is going to come. And it clearly tells you that we're going to be taken off this earth. And it clearly, common sense tells you that when John was in heaven and he was seeing all the stuff, it clearly told you there was a place that he measured, and it said, do not tell the measurements of that place, because that's for the Gentiles. That is for the Gentiles. Do not give the measurement of that. And that measurement has not ever been told. Why? Because they probably don't know how many Gentiles is actually going to be making it. But if your name ain't in the book of life, you ain't making it anyway. Right? Only one way to get your name in the book of life. And that's to accept Jesus Christ into your life and to be baptized. If you ain't baptized, your eyes can't be opened. Accepting Jesus into your life ain't opening your eyes. You have to go down. You got to go down a dry sinner and come up a saved one with your eyes open. That's the only way to get your eyes open, is going into that water. Because when you go down, that's where your sins went, and they got washed away. And when you come up, your eyes are open. You're a new person. You don't even know who the hell that was. You don't even know who that person was. You know it was you, but you can't believe it was you. Whatever got washed away, you cannot believe that was you. One person goes down in that water, and another person comes out. And I want to tell you, I know that for a fact, because I went down myself and came out the other side. And I'm going to let you know something. It wasn't the same person coming out the other side as that walked down into that water. When I come out the other side, my eyes were open. I was able to see the cesspool. I was ashamed. I was ashamed of the person I left behind. I couldn't believe that was even me. I've been there, baby. I've done that. Nobody can tell me anything about that. And I accepted Jesus Christ in my life long before I was baptized. I accepted him into my life. Actually, he accepted me into his life when I was a child. So, you know, it is what it is. I mean, people can listen, they cannot listen. You know, I can't take other people to heaven.
Primarily acquired through his years of working in the education industry, may be supplemented with some income from writing and academic engagements. Nancy Guthrie case, what we know so far. Nancy Guthrie is 84-year-old lady of Arizona, disappeared after the night of January 31st, when she was last seen after dinner with her daughter. She was returned to her home around 9:30 p.m. Authorities later categorized her house as a potential crime scene after disturbing evidence was found inside.
That's what I'm wondering. She didn't return home till 9:30. I'm wondering if someone wasn't inside that house. You know, the worst thing is walking into a situation like that. You know, it's possible someone was inside of JonBenet Ramsey's house. And I'll tell you, people will come in your house. Don't think that people will not come in your house. They think nothing of just coming into your house if they can. People will be in your home. They will take stuff from your home. I mean, put a one in the chat. If you have ever been in your house, like have your doors open, been in your house and turn around and there's someone standing in your house with you. Like they just came, you know, it's like they followed you in. I mean, you turn around to shut your door and you bump into them and you bump into this mother freaking person. And it's like, whoa, let it be a family member. Let it be, you know, they didn't knock or anything. Let it be a family member, a neighbor, or just a weirdo that you didn't even know. But they just came right on in and startled the hell out of you. Startled the hell out of you in your own home. Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. It happens to the best of us. It happens. It's happened to me more than once. More than once I've had it happen. I mean, you know, people just come right up into they just come on in. Like they live there. Like they live there. And I'm going to tell you something. And people they act like it's so hard to believe that someone, you know, is inside this house. You know, that's what, you know, about the Ramsey case. And that always bothered me is how people like, no, there was nobody in there. Nobody would be in there. Oh, hell yeah. Trust me, where I come from, you know that somebody could be in there. You know for a fact that somebody could be in there. Where I come from, you go in your house, you mother freaking check it. You walk around and you check it before you completely lock it down. Because that is how, you know, probability of someone being in there was. Just saying. Now, I don't know if anybody else ever lived in a mother freaking hood. But if you lived in the hood and you came in, you checked your mother freaking closets. You checked under your mother freaking bed. You checked behind your doors. You checked to see if someone had, you know, somebody had gotten in somehow. You didn't come in late at night, just shut the doors and go to bed. You came in late at night, you checked your house before you did anything else. You checked that place because you knew you better check it. Just saying. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And I tell you now, I've been on both sides of that fence. I've been on the side of the fence where you check, you come in your door and you check everywhere. And I've been on the side of the fence where you think you don't have to check nothing. Oh, you're such a safe community. You're in such a safe place. Bullshit. Bullshit. You ain't safe. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you buy a home, a lot of people, don't know things about selling a house, and they don't know anything about buying a house. They have no idea. They trust these, they put all the trust into the sellers, into the real estate agent, whatever agent it is. They put all their trust in this agent to take these people in and out of their home. And then when stuff comes up missing out of their home, because the agent let the person have the code and go into the home by themselves, or let them go in with, another realtor and all of this stuff, you opened your house up to, a pack of thieves that went in there and took things, and not only that, but you buy a house, and you don't change the locks. The people who had it before, trust me, the people who had it before, they can come right back in on you. They have keys to your house. And if you catch them, oh, they forgot something. I came back in because I forgot. No, they came back in because they thought you had money enough to buy that home, and you might have got a little bit of extra money to put into the home, and you might have some of that money in cash that they can pick up and take away. Or you might have other stuff that they might like to grab and get out of there. You always change the locks. The very day you move in, change the locks. The first thing you do is, if you don't know how to put on your own locks, if you don't know how to change them, then you have a locksmith ready and waiting that day. You make an appointment to have a locksmith there to change every damn lock in that place. And then you go around and make sure every window is locked in that place. Because you can't trust the people you bought that home from. You want to, you like to, but you can't. Right? And if you do know how to install locks, you better stop at the hardware store, and that be the first damn thing you do. Or you're going to have a lot of these people that you buy a home from right back in your home with their keys. And they're dangerous. Just saying. Let me tell you, I've seen it all. That's right. They could have gave keys to relatives, to friends. You don't know. You don't know who's going to come in there. Exactly. But most of the time, it's the very person you bought the house from. It's the very evil, sinister human you got the house from. And I tell you another thing. Always put your keys away. A lot of people, it's nice to come in your door and hang your keys up, right? Hang your keys up on a little hook. So when you, or lay them on the table, right? Like the little table when you come in the front door, put them there so that, when you leave, you grab your purse and right there's your keys and you go out the door. It's so convenient. But you know how convenient it is for people coming into your house? Do you know how convenient it is for handymen? Do you know how convenient it is for for family members, for friends, for people you don't even know that might come to your house? Electricians, furnace people, air conditioning people, right? You have so many different people, plumbers. You have all these people. You don't know when you might need them, when they're going to be coming in or out. And I tell you, you want to know about technology today? You can just take a picture of the damn key and get one made. Just use your cell phone, take a picture of it, and get one made. That's all they have to do to gain entrance back into your house. Put your keys in your pocketbook and put your pocketbook out of sight, right? That's where you better keep your keys. Just saying. And and they have the new locks. They have the new locks that you have a code. You push in the code, right? Like the garage door, you push in the code. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever go to push in a code and you got somebody behind your back staring like hell as you're getting ready to push in your code. Maybe a neighbor staring like hell, or somebody that's with you staring like hell. Yeah, they like, why are you going to push in your code with somebody standing over your back or a neighbor staring from the other yard? People will stare. They'll stand there, and watch and try to watch you put in your code. And it's the same way with your card at the grocery stores, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever had somebody at the grocery store trying to watch you push in your number. I've had that done 1,000 times. 1,000 times I've seen people trying to watch. People will have their kids, they will have their children try to watch what code you put in. And all they need, to order stuff, a lot of people, all they need is, they just take a picture. If you got your card out, like if you got your credit card and you're holding it, all they're going to need to do is take a picture of your mother freaking card that you're swinging around. And if they get a picture of that card, they can order anything they want to an abandoned house, and they go to the abandoned house and they pick that shit up, and guess who paid for it? You. And guess who's going to have to go through hell to get the money back? You. You got to be, in this world today, you have got to be very, very cautious. I hate to say it, but these people, the evil in this world today makes you feel paranoid, right? You feel all paranoid. You're like sliding your card out, stick it in there. You're covering up with one hand to push your private number in there to buy everything. And you know what I'm saying? You fucking are watching behind you and over you, and you go to the damn bank and you got, you go to the banks and you got homeless people sleeping on the parking lot, right? You got homeless people, mother freaking on the parking lot, all covered up and shit. They got one eyeball freaking open, looking at you through going through that drive-through, that ATM. They got one fucking eyeball, open, like you ain't noticing, and they're watching you, and then you're freaking watching them. It's like, geez, what kind of world are you living in? This is cray cray. Yeah, straight up. And that's what I'm talking about. This lady had so much stuff, and somebody felt they had so much to gain. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I mean, who in the fuck goes around kidnapping old people? Who the fuck does that? That's just weird. That's just weird. That's as weird as that's as weird as taking a child. That's as weird as somebody taking a kid. People who take kids and old people, they ain't even thinking right.
Have still not named any suspect or person of interest, and the investigation remains open. Detectives await further forensic results and ask the public to refrain from speculating.
Yeah, they asked us not to speculate, right? They asked you not to speculate. It is. I'm telling you, Carrie. It is. It's just weird. I don't know what else to say. This is. I didn't ever think there was another old lady missing too. She came up missing in 2026. I think she's like 90 something, right? I was reading it today. It was, like some kind of old people missing history thing. I don't know. It was something like that. And I was like, damn, they make you be afraid to get old now. They make you freaking scared, fucking scared to get old and shit. They be kidnapping you up. I mean, that's weird. I was an old person, somebody did that, I'd be breaking out some freaking some of that damn old ass music on them. That's what is that song? Do you think I'm sexy? Do you want my body? Come on, baby, let me know. Right? I'd be singing it to them in the motherfucking back seat, wherever the hell they put me out of the trunk. They'd just be hearing that song. I'd be singing it to them like fucking sicko. Right? That's what I'd be doing to them. Right? I'd be a crazy old bitch. I'd be laughing at them. I'd be like, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? Couldn't you get a date? You have to kidnap some freaking 90-year-old lady. Take her to the movies. Are you taking me to the movies? Right? Oh shit. Could have just asked me out, man. You didn't have to go through all this shit. Right? I'm gonna tell you. Somebody has to be hard up and fucking depressed to be stealing old people. That is just weird, man. That's just freaking weird. No. Yeah, they searched that septic tank. You know it's I tell you I tell you something about law enforcement. They don't ever cease to amaze me. I mean, clearly, you know, this is, clearly this is the front of the house right here. Goes out to the road. You see the pool is yet in the back. Now, the stains, right? The stains, the DNA stains were right here on the front porch. So they took the lady out. They took the lady out the front way, right? They took her out of the front. Why the hell are you looking in the backyard septic tank? What? Are they going to bring her out and walk her all the way around back? Right? Are they going to come out here and walk her all the way around the back? I mean, the back door was open. They could have just took her out the back if they was, if the stains were out back. I'd say okay, well, but they're out front, and if they're out front, that tells me that they took her away from the property. that's freaking common day everyday common sense right there. But they're out there, they're out there. Man, I don't mean to be laughing. I really don't. This is not a funny situation. This is nothing funny about this situation, but I'm going to tell you something. It reminds me of Ryan. Ryan finds truth in his old lady. Remember when they was up there on Jody Sue's property with the camera, staring it down in the radiated poo stuff, That's what it kind of reminds me of. They're out back sniffing up a septic tank. When all the evidence shows they went out the front door and left the damn property. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say for people. I don't know what to say for humans. But we're here. Here's the place. Right there's the porch. Where they brought this lady out. And they had to left with her. She wouldn't have been out back in a septic tank. Don't make no sense, right? It just don't make any sense at all. I don't like this house, to be honest with you. I don't care for this particular house. And look at this door. It tells you, why would you have a security door? Why would you have a big security door if you don't know the place is dangerous, right? You're not going to have a door like this if you trust everybody. There's no way in hell you're going to have this door. I'm not going to have a door like this if I'm not afraid, or if I'm, if I think everything's so hunky-dory, peachy king. I'm not going to have a door like this. But I'm going to tell you something that I don't understand also about this place. Take a look at this door. It tells me the area isn't safe, right? That's what it tells me. This area is not safe. But let's go back here. You see them two big sliding glass doors back here? Did you see them two big sliding? I mean, why have a big security door here if you're going to have two big ass unprotected sliding glass doors right there, right around the corner? That don't make no sense. That often has, That's something that keeps me awake at night. Is, wondering about the mental capacity of humans. Why would you have a big security doors on the front of your house and then big sliding glass doors somewhere else? I don't want no sliding glass doors, right? There no way to secure them. No way to secure them. If I'm going to have, if I'm going to have this type of door on the front of my house saying my neighborhood ain't safe, then I'm going to have big doors on the back of my house saying this neighborhood ain't safe. Right? I don't know. Just saying. She was targeted. Whoever was in that white van riding around that area, they knew about this place, and they were filling everything out to go in and do what was going to be done. Now, someone had to have them doing this. That white van just say, a white van ain't gonna come in your neighborhood and just say, oh yeah, this is the house right here we want to target. They're not going to do that. That white van came in there and knew exactly what home they were looking for. They knew exactly who this person was. They was given an address. They was given an address. They was given a name, an address. They were filled in on the cameras. They was, all of this stuff they were filled in on, right? They were filled in on everything. I don't think Summer is more important than this lady, at her age and everything. I don't believe she was, Summer's more important than this woman, because this lady was 81. She could have lived to be 101. She could have lived to be 100. She could have lived another 30 years. Age has, age has nothing to do, age has nothing to do with this kind of stuff. How much longer a person, like you would think Summer has. A lot of people say, this is a child, and this child has all of this life ahead of it, right? All of this life ahead of it. And a lot of older people say, I've lived my life, right? I've lived my life. And this child has all these years, to live, and this and that. That's not true. There's no truth to that. Not a lick of truth. That old person could live longer than that young person did. They could have had more years to live than that young person had. The point being is, every life is important. Every life is important. And you don't know how much life you got left. Just because you're 60, or 70 or 80. Hell, somebody 80 could have 30 more years. A human life can, there's people that live to be 120 or more. It's up to God. That's up to God. Just because people hit a certain age, like a person hits 40, oh, you're middle-aged. You've got 20 years before you're old. 60 is supposed to be old. That's getting into retirement stage. And when people are 60, they figure they got a good 10, 15 years. That person could have another 30 years to go. That's all up to God. It ain't up to us. And every single life on this earth is important. This lady didn't deserve, whoever did this, whatever evil being done something like this. This lady didn't deserve it. Nobody deserves to be put through that kind of terror, that kind of tragedy, that kind of, Summer didn't deserve to go through all she went through. This woman didn't deserve to go through everything she went through. Nobody does. No one in this world deserves to be abused, abducted, destroyed. Nobody deserves, nobody deserves evil to prey on them. That's what I'm trying to say. No human on the face of this earth deserves to be preyed upon. That 81-year-old lady wanted to live as much as Summer did. She wanted to be with her family as much as Summer wanted to be with a good family. I don't think Summer wanted to be with her family, but I think she liked to be with a good family, like Robin at the church. But people who, still an 80-some-year-old lady, I think I've heard it all now. I mean, I probably ain't, but I think I have. This is insane. And this door isn't damaged. None of the windows seem to be damaged in this place. This is a whole view. You can see how far the other houses and stuff are away from this. This is really isolated. A big piece of land, isolated. It's very secluded. Very secluded. And, if these neighbors were seeing a white van driving around, that white van was scoping the place because they were getting ready to do this. And that's just my opinion. Right? They say that they always go back to the scene of the crime. Here, I made this little collage to give you an idea. This is the lady, the 81-year-old lady in the first picture. And that's her and her daughter. The second picture at the top is the news reporter daughter. And if you take note, she was always with the news reporter daughter. She wasn't really, you didn't see a lot of pictures of her with her son or with her other daughter. She always seemed to be close to the one that was, that was the news reporter. But there's her son and the news reporter and the daughter that was married up to the guy that they're trying to say, they're trying to say possibly had something to do with it. It'll be a shame. It'll be a shame. I mean, how would you feel if you married someone who had your mother taken away and possibly, destroyed? How would you feel if you married somebody like that? My God, you'd have to blame yourself for the rest. You would be blaming yourself for the rest of your life for bringing that piece of crap, for dragging a piece of crap like that into the family. You'd always be blaming yourself for bringing that piece of crap home, right? Unbelievable. That would be hard. That'd be hard to live with. I don't know. And you see how? Do you see how? What I find weird. Do you see how the brother and the news reporter is the girl, the sister is sitting real close to each other? And do you see how the other sister is like like kind of scooted away from them? Did you anybody notice that? Did anybody notice that the other sister isn't leaning in? Um, that she seems to be distant from the other two, right? Um, I have questions about that. I, you know, I mean, that's kind of suspicious. I mean, I wouldn't want to think that she would go along with someone to do something bad to her mom. But I find it weird that she's like, you know, over there by herself, kind of. You know what I'm saying? I yeah, I just find that, because if that was my mom, you know, I'd be all hugged up to him, right? I'd be all hugged up to him because I would just like need, I would have, I would need that support. I would need that support. I just find it funny. There they are. See the camera? Here it is. There's the camera that survived, you guys. I wanted to show you the camera on the roof. There it is. It survived. And that's them out there, looking down in that hole. There it is. Yeah, I think it was an inside job. And like I said, this guy here's the one that was wanting, everything in Bitcoins. He was wanting everything in Bitcoins. And he may have been in on it. He may have been in on it. There it is, you guys. That's the back door. This is the back of the house. There's the back door. There's the big pool. And they said this door back here was open. That back door right there, they said that back door was open. So that tells me that whoever it was there inside waiting. And they must have. Here's the thing. If the back door was open and someone was in there waiting, then the vehicle had to be somewhere else and had to come back to pick them up. I think when she went in that house, she met whoever was there to get her. And I think once the son-in-law and the daughter left, the vehicle pulled in there and they brought her out the front door and took her. I think it was done fast and very rapidly, if you ask me. That's my opinion. And he could have been involved. He might have been involved because how would they know what time to be inside the house to get her unless someone told her when they was going to be dropping her off, right? I mean, okay, say that, say for instance, they didn't know she was going to be out to dinner and not be home. I mean, this was not random. This just was not random. Absolutely not random. This is no more random than the Summer Wells case, right? That's what I'm saying. Because the person had to be there. They had to know what time they had to know she was going to be out of the house. They had to know she was coming back late. in order, in order for all this to transpire. They had to have known. That's just my opinion. That, and I think they suspect the son-in-law, and I'll tell you why. I think they suspect him. They know that she was taken in the same clothing that she was dropped off in. Because if she would have been taken in different clothing, they would have suspected something different. Like if she'd have been taken in her night clothes, or she'd have been taken, in a different outfit, they would have suspected that, this could have been random. But because she was taken in the very clothes she was dropped off in, they feel it was a setup. That's my opinion. I think that's why he's a suspect, right? Just saying. Yeah, that exactly, second to none. Exactly. I think she still had him on, and they dropped her off. Somebody, a perfect stranger ain't gonna, know exactly. They wouldn't know she's going to be out of the house, and they wouldn't know exactly when she's coming back either. That's definitely a setup. And it sounds like, whoever it was went through the back door, because the back door was open. They brought her out of the front, meaning they had someone pull around. They went through the back door, waited for her to get dropped off. And then when she came in, they surprised her. And probably an altercation happened. And, between her and them. And they brought her out. They called the person that's, the person waiting to come around to pick them up. They brought her out, probably put her in a van or some type of vehicle, and they got out of there with her. And I think it was rapidly done. And I think law enforcement knows that. And I think they know that by the droppings that was left behind, because they can actually test those droppings and tell, not precisely, but they can tell about how long, how old that those droppings are, how many hours, because them droppings break down. It'll break down, like it'll draw a certain dryness, it, and so forth, breaks down, and they're able to lift that and tell about how long, how many hours it seems like that had happened before. They're really good. They're really good at understanding stuff like that. So, I mean, I guess everything's got age on it, right? Everything's got age on it. They can actually tell how long something's been sitting somewhere just by the dust, just by the amount of dust it's collected, right? That's the truth. I mean, science is it can be a beautiful thing. It could be an evil thing. You always got your good and evil in all things. Oh, I hope she is too, Carrie. I hope she is still, I hope, you know, I don't think so. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't think so. You know, I really don't. Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you think if you think she's not with us anymore. Put a one in the chat. I just think she's not. That's my opinion. I think she was too old to take what they put on her. That's just my opinion. I don't think she's with us. I tell you what I really hope for. What I really hope for. The same thing I hope for Summer. The one thing I hope most for people like this is they're found. Right? Because I don't think that anyone can get closure. As for the person, I don't think they can rest. I don't think that any person done like this could truly rest until they're found, because they died. They died wanting to, to be with their loved ones. They died wanting to be, to be found, to be helped. And I don't think they can truly rest until they are. And I don't think that people who love these people, I don't think you can ever truly rest or get closure without the person being found. I think, it's going to be a mental trauma till the day you die if you don't find them. I think it's going to be harder to move on. You can't move on. You just can't move on when you don't know. Right? You can't. When you know where someone's at, you can move forward. Because you know that they're, when you find someone and they ain't with you no more, it's horrible. It's hard. It's hard to understand that such evil is on this earth, that they would destroy someone you love so much. But the person's in the arms of God and Jesus Christ. You know that they're okay. That they're okay now. Right? You know that they're all right. And they're with the Lord, and they ain't suffering no more. But when you don't find them, you don't know. You don't know what, you just don't know. You have no idea what they're, you don't, you rather hope that they're not with us than to hope that they are. Because if they still have life in them, they're being, they're going through hell. They're suffering. They're going through so much that you don't even want to know about. Right? It's just hard. You got that forever, you don't know thing going on. And it just makes it so damn hard on a human not knowing. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're afraid for them, right? You're scared for them. You are absolutely afraid for them. And, and it don't go away. It don't go away. It's just horrible. It's just horrible. You know, I think we've all known people. I know I have. I've known people who, you know, suffered, tremendous tremendous pain at the hands of evil human beings. And some didn't survive, some did, some didn't. And it's, it's super hard. It's super hard when, it's super hard when people went through this, and even if they're not with you anymore, they're with the Lord, and you find some peace and closure. But if they would have been, if they would never been found, somebody to drug them off, drug them away and done something with them, and they wouldn't ever been found, that would have made it even harder, right? That would have made it even harder. So, I don't know. I guess people live with that nightmares all the time. They live with those nightmares all the time, you guys. Many, many people out there living with them type of nightmares. And I just pray that, I pray this woman's found somewhere. If these evil people do nothing else, at least let this family have some closure, right? Let them have closure if they do nothing else. That's what's so upsetting about Summer's case. It's not the Wells playing all kinds of games. It's not, it's not about all the games they played. It's not about the fact they didn't do anything to help their child. It's not about, it's not about none of the bullshit that's been going on out here. It's about them being so cold and calculus that they didn't even let the little girl be found to be buried the proper way in order to find peace for her and closure for everyone else. It's that they were so sad and fucking evil that they couldn't even allow the child a proper burial, right? A proper burial. So her brothers could get closure and live a normal life in the future. It's just a sad fucking case. Just a sad case. And you can't believe that, it's hard to believe that that type of evilness exists in this world. But it does. And it does when evil has to protect its ass. Evil is always willing to do whatever it takes to protect their ass and to gain whatever they can gain, however they can gain it. It's just sick. It's disgusting. And it's loose in this world. Yeah. I mean, just think of being ripped away and stashed somewhere. No one knowing, just being ripped away from everybody you love. And even if you met Jesus, even if you know, you went out of this world and met the Lord, you still ain't going to be able to rest. You're not going to be able to rest because you know you want your loved ones to know where you're at. You want to be put where they can see you, where they can visit you up, where they can be with you. You want to be like everyone else in that cemetery. You want to be like everyone else in that cemetery. You want a tombstone too. And you want to be visited just like everybody else gets visited. You want to be cared for after you're gone, just like you was while you were here. You can't rest in peace. Not having your loved ones come and see you once in a while. You can't rest like that. That's just my opinion. Second to none. I understand. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you what. This is a hard thing to do out here. To come out here and talk about this, this type of stuff. I think this is probably the hardest. I've done a lot of hard things in my life. I have lost a lot of good people in my life, a lot of beautiful people, a lot of beautiful souls. God rest them. I've lost a lot of good people, but I know where they're at. I know where they are. I can go see them. I can go visit them. I can put flowers on their graves. I could tell them how much I love them. And I think they can see me and know that. Because I think all good people go to heaven. But it's hard doing what we do out here because we can't go see these kids. We can't go see them and put flowers on their graves because most of them ain't been found. Right? Quentin, we could go to his gravesite, but the biggest part of him's gone, right? Wasn't ever found. Summer ain't been found. Sebastian Rogers, not found. Jack and Lily, not found. Michael Vaughn, not found. The West Boys, not found. Megan Boswell, she got found. Thank God she got found. But the biggest amount of these children, they're like this lady. Not found. And that's hard. That's the stuff that keeps us up at night. That's the stuff that, that bugs us. Yeah, Evelyn. Those are the things that just, I don't know. I know that we're doing what's best for these kids out here. I know that somebody's got to do it because these children rely on us to be their voices, to be here for them. to do all we can for them. Just like this lady, she depends on everybody doing everything they can to help her as well. Right? And I'll tell you something. I took note that this family, they followed all the rules. They followed all the rules. They have done everything. They already got billboards up with their mother's picture. They've already got it in all the papers. They got it on all the news stations. They got flyers everywhere. They got all the social media going. This family did it right. They did it right. They followed the checklist of what you do. And that shows me that whoever is in charge of that checklist is innocent. Whoever was in charge of this mother's checklist, law enforcement can check them off the list because they did it right. Right? But I'll tell you what, people, humans that are not, humans that are not innocent, they don't follow the checklist. They don't follow it. We'll talk about that tomorrow night if I'm able to be in here. We'll talk about that. We'll go over that checklist. That checklist is a good thing to put out here. I was researching it. Matter of fact, today I was researching it. And I'm going to tell you, it has a lot of stuff on it that a lot of people might not know. That a lot of people, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to bring out here and enlighten everyone on, to educate everyone on. Because you don't know when something like this might happen. You pray it don't hit close to home or even hit home. But if it did, it's a great thing to have. Or somebody, a friend, or somebody you can give that advice to. It's always good to be educated in the steps to take if something like this happens. So I'm going to bring that to the table, for everybody. I think that's important. I really do. And I'm going to bring that to you. But I'm going to get out of here because I got to go check. I got to check on little man. And because I know the uncle is probably tapping his finger right now, like, because, that's probably what he's doing. He's babysitting. He's babysitting for PG. And I'm not saying he don't do a good job, but I gotta go get my baby. Right? I gotta get my baby. I gotta put my baby to bed for the night, and even if he don't want to go to bed, but I gotta take care of the little one. PG's tired, you guys. If you can't, I don't know if you could tell or not, but I'm tired as hell. And I'm going to continue to be tired. I'm going to continue to be tired, right? I don't know how long. How long is it till they start sleeping all night? 5-6 months. I'm going to be real tired for the next 5 or 6 months. However long it takes. I'm going to be tired. If any of you guys got any idea how to you know, how to get a baby to if you got any suggestions on how to get a baby to, you know, get its days and nights right, please let me know. Find me on Facebook and let me know, you know, if you got any, you know, like some people have little, they dealt with this and they have little tricks that they could do, you know, to switch it around. If you got any of that, let PG know. Because I'm going to tell you, I've been trying everything. And he still wants to stay up at night. So if you got, you know, any suggestions, I could sure use. I'm willing to, you know, I'm willing to try about anything. Not anything, but you know, any little stuff that might help. So if you got anything, please share it with me. The Facebook is under Sissy Bible. Miss Justice just put it out. She just put the link out to the Facebook. And so click on the link, send me a friend request. I'll take you. And baby swing. That could work. Ivy's mom. Girl, that could work. Ain't they got one? I think they got one like a bassinet, don't they? Ain't they got one like a bassinet that swings? I think they do. I mean, I want him to lay flat, you know. I don't want to try to set him up or nothing. He's too little. But I think they got one that's like a bassinet. I'm going to look for that tomorrow. Yeah, they do. I'm pretty sure they did. I'm going to look for that tomorrow. Hey, girl, I appreciate that. I'm going to try that. Yeah, man, I thought this was going to be a piece of cake. You know, I thought it was going to be like my other kids, you know, a piece of cake. And I'm going to tell you something. It's taking the cake. Right? It's taking the cake. I'm glad I can still laugh. Right? Man, I learned a long time ago, you got to just take life as it comes. You know? If you get all stressed out and everything, it ain't good for you. Right? Oh, wow. Okay. I appreciate that, second to none. I appreciate that. I'm going to look for that tomorrow. First thing tomorrow, I'm going to look for that swing. I appreciate that. If you got more stuff that could help, please let PG know. Let me know. I need y'all's help. I need your help. This is one PG don't know. This is, you know, I don't know. So, I thought I knew everything. I used to think I knew everything out. Right now, I'm feeling like I don't know nothing when it comes to, you know, this up all night baby stuff. I'm lost. So I'm dependent on you guys. If you got some help you can give, you know, let me know. Shoot, I'm gonna tell you, I'm ready to bring I'm ready to open my door and bring some of you guys over, so you have a slumber party. You could set up and You can sit up with the baby and I can go to sleep. Help me out, man. Help me out. All right, you guys. You know PG loves you. You know I love you. That's for sure. Keep on doing what you do. You got a gift. I know you guys got a gift in heaven for what you do. You guys are awesome. Don't ever let nobody tell you you're not. You're awesome, you guys. Keep those prayers going up for one another. Keep them going up for one another. Family that prays together stays together. And we are a family put together by God for these missing kids. So keep them prayers going up. And keep them going up for these missing children. I don't ever leave out of here before asking that you keep the prayers going up for Summer Utah Wells. Keep them going up for Michael Vaughn. Keep them going up for Sebastian, Jack and Lily, little Emmanuel. He ain't been found either. He hasn't been found. Keep them going up for these children because God knows they need our prayers and we need them found. We need these children found. We need justice served against the evil that did this to them. And we need justice served for the evil that did this to this lady tonight. Right? We absolutely pray for her family. I pray she's alive, but I'm really worried that she's not, and that's the truth. So keep those prayers going up, you guys. God works miracles. He works miracles every day. Let us hope that this is one, right? Let us hope it is one. And these people find their mom. She's okay. And they can put it all behind them. It won't be easy. But they'll be able to do it. Hey girl, you guys are awesome too. You guys are awesome. All right, you guys, know that PG, know that I'm always praying for you. I'm always praying for you. I know that there's somebody in here. There's somebody really needing prayer. Someone is really needing some prayer. And let me tell you something. The prayers are going up for you. Don't worry. They're going up. Because there's people in here praying for everybody. Just like I do. So the prayers for you. You think nobody's praying for you? I'm telling you they are. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I know I'm talking to somebody. Just saying. Good night, everybody. God bless. Much love.